matters and that you can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We felt that way too. I'm Sergeant First Class Chris Urick from Glencoe, Minnesota, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Minnesota Army National Guard soldiers. We are people just like you, and together we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit nationalguard.com/MN to find out more. Sponsored by Minnesota Army National Guard, aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Supporting the best local and independently owned restaurants in the Twin Cities has never been easier. You'll find an expansive list of local dining options at eatlocalminnesota.com, from classic American comfort food to authentic flavors from around the world. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking cuisine, the Great Wall Chinese restaurant has been a local favorite since 1981. They offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include the sesame chicken, imperial beef, and Peking duck. The Great Wall restaurant is located off 45th and France, with takeout available too. More at greatwallrestaurant.us. Nightingale on 26th and Lyndale is the ultimate venue for unforgettable gatherings. Whether big or small, your event will be a hit with delicious food and drinks served in a warm and inviting atmosphere. Plus, Chef Carrie's special creations add that extra touch. Craft cocktails, curated drinks, and a diverse menu make Nightingale perfect for any celebration. More at nightingalempls.com.
Tune in every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. for a full hour celebrating LGBTQ stories, culture, and entertainment in Minnesota with This Queer Book Saved My Life and The Gailey Show. Can't catch the shows live? Then listen through your favorite podcasting app. Plus, you can watch The Gailey Show anytime on AM 950's YouTube channel or Facebook page. For all the details, visit thisqueerbook.com or am950radio.com. We'll see you Saturdays at 2 p.m. or anytime via podcast, YouTube, or Facebook.
Hey, Peggy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms continue tonight with a low of 53. And Wednesday, another chance of rain with a high of 56. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant at 26th and Lyndale in Minneapolis. Come in for the famous Nightingale burger or the ginger tamari chicken wings. View their menu or place a takeout order at nightingalempls.com.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He didn't cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive. Because
it's a good day to be indigenous.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He didn't cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Peggy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Zega, and this portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACDI, with Make Voting a Tradition.
We love those guys and the work they do, and Robert Lilligren, the leader of that group, is just an awesome person, and you can hear him almost every Thursday on Native Roots Radio. So we are excited to have the Minnesota State Lieutenant Governor on the show right now, and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, thank you so much for being on Native Roots Radio.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be able to be with you live from the Comfort Inn in Rhinelander.
The old Rhinelander, Wisconsin. And what's exciting, Lieutenant Governor, is that we have a big reach in Wisconsin. We're on over 18 stations in Wisconsin, and And we're excited to amplify what you're doing today and also talk a little national politics. So again, big peeny for being on, Peggy.
It's my absolute pleasure. And when I was asked to come to Wisconsin to surrogate for the Biden-Harris campaign, I jumped at the chance. I think, we have a healthy rivalry between Minnesota and Wisconsin, right? The Vikings and the Packers and the, Badgers and Gophers.
Absolutely.
But I think we do have shared values, really grounded in caring for one another and just making sure that everyone has an opportunity. And so that's why I'm here. Also, I love cheese. So figured there'll be lots of opportunities for that here.
Well, I went to Madison for a few years, but I did more studying in the bar than in class. So I had to get my degree in Minnesota, but there's so many similarities, and I didn't know cheese curds in Wisconsin aren't the way they make them here in Minnesota. Do you know that?
Well, they're cold in Wisconsin, right? And in Minnesota, we deep fry them. Listen, I'm not going to discriminate against cheese. I like it in all forms. You might not like me back, as many of our Indigenous relatives know, but I love it. But yeah, seriously, I am so happy to be here this weekend and just traveling around the state. There's incredible opportunities here, I think, to connect with voters, with a Native vote that I think has truly the power to decide this election in swing states across the country. And it is critical that our people turn out and vote and, in my opinion, vote for Democrats.
Absolutely. And one of the things we talk about so much on Native Roots Radio is our trifecta here in Minnesota. And we would love that with our neighbors in Wisconsin.
Absolutely. And, that's, I think, part of, the message that I want to send here as well. Things like making sure that every child can eat breakfast and lunch at school, paid family and medical leave, protecting access to abortion and reproductive rights, and just investing really in the things and the people that we care about. Many of the things that we got done this last legislative session, we've been laying the groundwork to organize around for decades. So I think, and watching what, Ben Wickler has done here with the Wisconsin Democratic Party, redistricting that is finally more fair and just, the opportunities here in Wisconsin to do that as well. It is, the time is right. And I think 2024 is really the year to make it happen.
What I really like, and Lieutenant Governor, I have a different job we don't talk too much about here on Native Roots Radio, but I do have a different job, and I go to Wisconsin quite a bit. And there's a great sign that says, "Vote Democrat because they vote for you."
Yeah. And I think that sums it up, right? Like the contrast that we see between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, I think in this moment could not be clearer. We have, a president who has a long track record of investing in tribal communities, since Biden-Harris has come into office. I think it's been, really powerful, especially with our Auntie Deb, right, with Secretary Howling, who has been in this role. It's a complete game changer for us. The kind of investments, historic investments in Indian country, in infrastructure, in healthcare, in education, it really of honoring the promises that the government made to Native people and continuing to build on that. The compassion with the boarding school work that, that has been invested in. And really, I think the most important thing that I have seen is truly respecting just the government to government relationship and allowing additional flexibility with federal dollars, knowing that Native folks know how to spend these resources best and tribes should be, leading the way. That's what I've seen come out of the Biden-Harris administration. And the contrast with Donald Trump, who has openly just said foul and racist things about Native people, who has zero respect for sovereignty, for even the sovereignty for us as women or over our own bodies and our ability to make our own healthcare decisions. And he's in it for himself. I've never seen a quote unquote leader who has been so blatant in just, naming the fact that like they're in it for themselves and for their billionaire, buddies. Like he doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about regular folks who are just, trying to make it. And so I think that for me, is one of the most important messages is like, he's a selfish leader who just doesn't, care. And I think, would do away with democracy in a heartbeat. And we can't let that happen. And I think, Native folks can really be the determinant this year. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm here in April. And, we'll continue to come back to Wisconsin and to swing states across the country to make sure that people know what's at stake and that we have the power to make the difference in this election cycle.
Yeah, it surely showed that the last presidency, and I know people like Robert Lilligan's group, Rock the Vote Native Style, or not Rock, Make Voting a Tradition, they registered 9,000 new voters, Native American voters in that last cycle, which helped the governor and lieutenant governor of Minnesota, but also nationally.
That's absolutely right. And when I think about NACDI, right, and I think about just even the phrase "make voting a tradition," voting by moving forward by consensus is so grounded in so many of our communities, right? I think sometimes there's this vibe of like, oh, that's not our system, right? Like, sometimes folks don't want to participate in that. But listen, we are impacted more by decision makers, right, and elected officials than any other group of folks, right? So from, the local, state, certainly, federal level, and the executive branch, I think really, really matters. So I am thrilled, right, by those results of registering new voters. And that absolutely has to be a part of the way that we build power all of the time. Voter registration, coming back to, lobby folks when they're in office, and just having a consistent presence, not just about elections, but that we are engaged as Native people and will continue to show up over and over again.
Hey, we're here with Minnesota State Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, and we're talking about Biden and also our sister state, Wisconsin. And we're going to be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950. As we gear up for American Indian Celebration Month in May, it's crucial to prioritize our health, especially with celebrations on the horizon. If you start feeling off, like a fever, a tickle in the throat, or heavy fatigue, don't ignore it. Take an at-home COVID-19 test right away. And remember, if you're not feeling well, it's okay to stay home. Your health comes first. A quick note on COVID testing. The Minnesota Department of Health's free COVID-19 at-home testing program has ended. But don't worry, if you're uninsured, you can still find no-cost tests using the CDC's COVID-19 testing locator. If you have health insurance, you might be eligible for free tests or reimbursement for testing expenses. Just ask your local pharmacy or health insurance provider for more information. Stay informed, stay protected. Let's prioritize our health this American Indian Celebration Month in May and ensure our communities and elders remain safe and healthy. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health. Visit health.state.mn.us.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Oh, we love those guys and the work they do all over Turtle Island. And again, they were one of our first sponsors 7 years ago. So we really have a deep heart and relationship with Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. Great work there. Hey, we are here with Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, and we are really excited to talk about what she's doing today and also amplify a few things that we all love to talk about here on Native Roots Radio. Welcome back.
Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here.
There's you were talking about the contrast earlier in the last segment between Biden and Trump. There are so many stark ones. How about if you pop out a couple of them, because I know Indian country and the people that listen to Native Roots Radio sometimes need to be reminded.
Yeah. So I think for many of us, right, like those 4 years were just so dark that we try to, forget them. And, it was just like the days of what is he going to tweet, right? Like having a little like pit in your stomach, which like world leader is he going to go after for no reason other than ego? As a mom, right, literally having to turn off the TV when he came on because I couldn't have my daughter like listen to his like violent rhetoric and crude behavior. And I would think about who the president was like every single day. And it was, I think really traumatic for so many of us. One of the things that, he did is signed right authorization for the Dakota Access Pipeline the second day he was in office. That I think is, deeply painful. And, juxtapose that with, the leadership of Secretary Howling, that was, who was appointed by President Biden to be really deeply committed to clean energy and this clean energy economy and, making sure that we have a pathway away from fossil fuels. And that's incredibly important, right? The sustainability of our communities, that we are impacted more than anybody else. So that I think is very clear. And, taking folks back in the Wayback Machine all the way to 1993, excuse me, when, right after the Indian Gaming Act was passed, that Donald Trump, there's this sort of infamous hearing where he, goes after tribes, uses some of the most like racist language and rhetoric I've heard. And then, talks about how he wants a system to be more fair, right? And that it's not fair for him to have to pay taxes. He's not really good at paying taxes anyway, right? But at the time, right, simultaneously, Chief Executive Melanie Benjamin reminded me of this just earlier this week, that he was actively getting ready to file for bankruptcy while he was testifying at that hearing. So, Indian gaming is one of the things that has really allowed us to, care for our own people, provide tourism and jobs to non-Native folks, right? Healthcare to people. Like it is one of the ways that we're able to support our communities. That is always under threat, and specifically, right, under threat by if Donald Trump is reelected. And so, like, that's real, and we have to talk about it. Versus, right, the Biden administration that has been, committed to our ability, right, to be able to care for our own people and our own communities and have, an economy and infrastructure within our own tribes that, again, if Indian country is doing well, the rest of the community, the region, the state, and the country are doing well. And I think that the Biden-Harris administration, really understands that.
Absolutely. And, again, I'm referring back to my other job that I don't talk about much here on Native Roots Radio, is that I Well, let me back up a second. We have Bob Blake from Red Lake on every Wednesday, and he gives us solar news. He's the solar bear with the solar news, and it's really fun. But he talks about what great work the Biden administration has done, not in Indian country, but all over with renewable energy.
Yeah, the investments have been significant, and I think like we just need to keep talking about it, and that is why I'm here and trying to spread the word, and we'll be continuing to chat with folks about what is at stake. These investments are real. Clean energy economy is what is needed and necessary for our people, and they've really delivered. I think there's just in generally, right, there's been a lot of investment, but specifically for tribal communities, are really impressive. So there's been $32 billion to support healthcare and housing, survivors of domestic violence and sexual assaults, childcare for our people. And those are real tangible things where we frankly, our communities deserve those investments. I consider it in many ways a down payment, right? The Biden-Harris administration understands that, and I think will continue to make these investments. One of the things that I think is so critical for tribal communities, especially our reservation communities, are those investments in infrastructure. So it's $13 billion to fix roads and bridges, provide clean drinking water for our people. And then, Robert, as you mentioned, more than $720 million to help tribes to adapt and plan for climate change, to mitigate drought, support fisheries, and then transition to a clean energy production and use for our communities. So there's real money. $3.5 billion for high-speed internet across the country. We know how much that is needed in our communities, especially rural communities. And then just generally, overall providing just more of I think a greater role in the management of the land and water that have cultural and natural resources that are, significant to our people. So, that's been just like a lot to talk about. So we need to continue to talk about it.
Yeah, and remind people because it is night or day. And I'm glad you mentioned broadband, because a lot of our tribes are out there, and a lot of our farmers and a lot of their people. And we found out during COVID that we need an infrastructure update, and the president and their people reacted accordingly.
That's right. And I think again, continuing the tribal summits, the government to government work and conversations, as well as being really clear that there are opportunities to work within and to support urban Native communities as well, right? We don't all live on reservations, and that, and I think that there's been a commitment to that too. And I am eager for the Biden-Harris administration to be able to continue this work. We are not done yet. And so I think, having 4 more years is going to give us an opportunity to build a really solid foundation to set us up for success, into the future, to strengthen this relationship between tribes, right, and the federal government, but also to make sure that they continue to deliver on their promises, for our communities.
Well, we talk about a lot here in Native Roots Radio about Biden as being an elder. And what I mean by that, that's a Native way. When somebody's older, that's who you want to find out things. And he's got a great cabinet and people working for him. But we respect our elders.
That's right. And here's what I know. And I'm going to share this story around the state today. But the first time that I ever met President Biden, it's when he was vice president. I was invited to his home for a celebration for advocates around domestic violence and sexual assault prevention. And I was with Dave Wellstone, the son of our late great Senator Paul Wellstone. So the two of us got to meet with him before sort of the big party. And I told him my story about being a survivor of domestic violence and a child witness of abuse. And the care that he had in holding and hearing my story. He gave me a hug, and I felt seen and supported. And it really, he encouraged me to keep telling it. And I think there's something like, if you can tell the vice president this story, I bet you can tell other people. But it was just the incredible kindness. And so that for me is, he is an elder, right? He is wise. He is caring. And I think, coming back to that piece, Robert, I'm so glad that you brought that up, right? We respect the wisdom, right, and the experience of our elders. And, that is clearly something that we need to keep talking about. He has a great big heart, and I am grateful that he has been our president and stepped up during a time when we were all just experiencing incredible trauma, and has set us on a road to healing.
Wow, really good medicine. We are here with Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, and what good medicine you're giving our listeners today. And you everywhere you speak, you give us chills. And when I was a high school teacher, I always said, thank you for doing what you're doing, a big Peenigigi, because our young ones need to see people that look like them in leadership capacities. So I will not call you Senator yet, but I will call you Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Thank you so much.
Pinagigi Miigwech, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks. That was our great Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. We'll be back right after this short break. Please stay with us.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Attention transit customers. On Saturday, March 16th, Metro Transit will make changes to transit service within your community. As we do each quarter, we review our resources and ridership trends. These service changes continue our ongoing work to best serve customers throughout our system with our given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org.
Hi, I'm Chuck Manette, owner of Native Concrete and Masonry. Whether it's cracks in your existing sidewalks, steps, chimney restoration, or a whole new project, you can trust our team to ensure satisfaction through detailed planning and precision. Native Concrete and Masonry is a Native American-owned business, and we have worked with our clients throughout the Twin Cities metro area. We work closely with our clients to accomplish our initiatives. Learn more at nativeconcretemasonry.com.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas is your pathway to a bachelor's degree. Located in downtown Minneapolis, Doherty Family College offers an affordable education that includes free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass. As a full-time Doherty Family College student, you'll benefit from mentorship from St. Thomas faculty, along with paid internships and support from Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn your dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College, your journey to success starts here.
Join Edina Rides for Education on Saturday, May 4th at Fred Richards Park for a leisurely 5 or 10-mile bike ride. Edina Rides is organized by the Rotary Club of Edina Morningside. Gear up for a day of community spirit. And here's the best part. Your Ride with Edina Rides supports local educational nonprofits like the Edina ABC program. Their goal is to increase the number of well-educated minority students and make it possible for deserving students to reach their full potential. Current student Joyelle, a high school junior, says she's proud to be part of the Edina ABC program. She says it's been a joyous experience, providing her with amazing opportunities from diverse classes to exciting events and meeting wonderful people. Your participation helps sustain organizations like Edina ABC. Registration is easy at edinarides.com. Take advantage of early bird pricing, just $25 for adults and $15 for kids. So gear up and pedal for a purpose on Saturday, May 4th with Edina Rides for Education. More at edinarides.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms continue tonight with a low of 53. And Wednesday, another chance of rain with a high of 56. Spring is here, and it's a good time to take a look at your lawn. If it's not the lush green lawn you're hoping for, Natural Lawn can help. Natural Lawn's organic approach is safe for people and pets. Don't wait for summer and visit naturallawn.com today.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACDI, in Minneapolis.
Hey, was really great to have the Lieutenant Governor on the first segment. What a well-spoken. We could have her on every day. It's really, really, truly, and what a great speaker. And I've always get emotional when she's on the show. So, yeah, big Peeny Gigi. Hey, we are here with John Williams here, and he's a movie producer, and we know him for other things here in the community. And John, don't laugh. You are a movie producer.
Well, it looks like it could happen.
Well, we are going to be talking about the movie you're going to be working on, and we really appreciate you coming on and talk about the process and talk about where you're at with your next coming project. And we're excited to amplify that today.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me, you guys. It's great to see you, Haley and Robert. I have a couple of things I wanted to talk about NACDI for you guys. Do you mind? We have some really fun stuff going on at the gallery at All My Relations. We've got an artist market coming this weekend. So it's Friday and Saturday. We've got 15 to 20 vendors. It's going to be from 10 to 2 right at our gallery next to Power Grounds on the Ave, but it should be great. I was at the last one and spent too much money, but that's a good thing to do, is come and spend money on artists. So please come. Friday, Saturday, April 19th and 20th, 10 to 2, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah, we are excited, and we love to come there, Haley and I, and we're going to be excited. We're going to be part of the market when it comes out this year, Native Roots Trading Post. And we have those cool little hoodies that you had taken a picture and put on Facebook up there, and we're excited to get those out there.
Yeah, everybody likes it, so I'm gonna need more. The other thing is we have a new exhibit opening, you guys. It's Frank Buffalo Hide, and he is opening a show called Alternative. It's painting and sculpture, and he's an amazing artist. It opens May 9th, and just vivid and pop culture saturated. His work reflects on the commodification of Indian culture and the assertive roles for Native American identity in the contemporary world. So it should be a stellar exhibit. Opening reception May 9th, 6 to 8. Let me just double check. 6 to 8. I was right the first time, May 9th. So please come down, celebrate Native art with us, come to the market. Thank you for letting me promote those things on the show.
Absolutely. And Haley talks about them, and we have Robert Lilligren on Thursdays too. So we love talking about what's happening on the Native corridor in Minneapolis. And I just want to remind too, all our listeners out there, everyone's invited, all our allies out there.
Absolutely.
There is so much fun and joy. Stop in the coffee shop, check out the whole avenue and what's happening, you know. So we're really excited to be a part of this and be able to go down there and do that with you. And it's just a welcoming situation, John.
Hey, Robert, I heard that Robert Lilligren is kind of a disruptive guest. Is this true?
Yeah. No, but I do know that he appreciates his name spoken correctly, and so I am practicing. I am practicing every day now.
Right. You stumbled on Robert or Lilligren?
Maybe both.
Yeah. Oh, Haley, easy there. Maybe both. I'll take the fifth. You'll have to listen more often, John.
I do try to listen, but I will take that as direction to listen more frequently.
Hey, so let's talk about what happened up in Duluth and what's happening now, and
Sure.
the project you're working on. I'm really excited to amplify that.
Oh, good. Well, so I'm going to tell you the story here, and if we have to go to commercial, just shut me up, okay? Which I know you will. So our friend Tashia Hart, who is a writer based in Duluth, she was part of our Native Authors program at NACDI and All My Relations. And for those who don't know about it, the Native Author program that we've been operating since 2021 is for emerging Native American artists. And Tashia Hart was in our first cohort. And by the way, it's been so successful that we'll be starting our third cohort this year. But Tashia wrote a novel. She wrote a romance novel called Native Love Jams. So that was happening and part of NACDI. So this is NACDI adjacent. In the meanwhile, my former colleague at NACDI, Elizabeth Day, is a filmmaker. And she made a beautiful documentary, co-directed and co-produced a documentary that opened the Minnesota Film Festival last week. And so we were up there, but prior to going up to celebrate Elizabeth and Jonathan's beautiful film called Without Arrows, and that will be airing on PBS later this year. It's a gorgeous film about a Cheyenne River family, the Fiddlers, and the ups and downs of their life and reservation life and urban life. And so beautiful. The photography is stunning, and it just packs a wallop at the end. Couldn't recommend it more highly. So Without Arrows. But Elizabeth and I told her last year, I said, whatever your next project is, I want to work on it. That's all I said to her. Mm-hmm. In the interim, and a couple of weeks had passed, in that interim, we both had picked up a copy of Native Love Jams and read it. And then I ran into Elizabeth and she said, here's my new project. I want to produce Native Love Jams into a movie. I was sold because I think there might be one or two other Native American romantic comedies, but it's certainly not something that's common. Mm-hmm. And I thought what the world needs right now is a Native American rom-com. And so so Tashia Hart went ahead and wrote a screenplay, and we decided to enter the pitch competition at the Minnesota Film Festival. And come to find out in March, we were selected as a finalist.
Wow.
So during the festival, so we went up and we rehearsed and we got our stuff together and wrote, and Tashia and Elizabeth got up on stage last week and sold this pitch to festival attendees and industry professionals. And everybody laughed at the right moments. They thought it was wonderful. And we ended up winning. So we won the award. And at the same, just shortly after that, Elizabeth won for her other film for Best Local Filmmaker. So we just cleaned up that night. It was wonderful. There's been some interest already in our project, Native Love Jams. And so we're kind of getting our stuff together here and forming an LLC and doing production company stuff and all of that. But thank you for letting me promote it. We really believe that this whole novel, the way that Tishia is so carefully crafted a romantic comedy to reflect a true Anishinaabe story, is so winning and beautiful and funny, and we deserve a happy ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, and it's so interesting too. I was in New York and ran into a filmmaker, and she was trying to ask me if I knew any filmmakers, and then this popped up. So, love to get you two together and talk over things because she has a film. Haley, what's the name of the film again? That's
The Heart Stays.
yeah, and that's on Apple TV, and she self-produced it, and it's just great to see all this art and film and television and media out there that Native Americans are doing by themselves.
Well, that's what Elizabeth and I want to do with our production company. Is we want to not only produce cool Native movies, we want to build Native talent within the film industry. We would love to see more people getting trained in being a grip and being a focus puller, being part of a production. So many people love movies, and they may think that they don't have an in to become part of the movie making process or TV making process. And so we want to strategize about ways that if we bring productions to Minnesota, are fortunate enough to do that, that we focus on how that's going to most directly impact our Native communities.
Absolutely. And we always talk, and I know we've talked, you and I, about Natives telling their own story, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. We have heart, we have humor, and we've proven that in the last 5 years with things like the television show Reservation Dogs and the movies that have come out, Predator, the pre-Predator, and there's just been a lot of excitement that we have to keep this momentum going.
Absolutely. I mean, we couldn't be more thrilled that Reservation Dogs was a success. Lily Gladstone is kicking down doors for us. Mm-hmm. There needs to be some equal time for Native people. And, you know, frankly, I want all of our stories being told, but those stories include romantic comedies. They include horror movies, which is my favorite genre. They include dramas, and not all of our stories are rooted in trauma.
Right.
Sometimes we just need a 2-hour break and watch something fun and light, and where all the tropes of a romantic comedy are represented, because she was so smart in putting this together, that we just get to celebrate the tumultuous ways that us Native people are falling in love.
Hey, we're here with John Williams, and he's Vice President of Development at Native American Community Development Institute, and also a producer. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this. And also, I will be shaving my goatee off if I need be to try out for the movie.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll send you the casting call.
Right on. Right on. For somebody, a radio personality that mispronounces everyone's names, right?
Right. You might. Yeah. Well, there's a place for everybody in our ways.
That's right. Oh, that's really cool. John, great to see you. Thank you for everything you do in the community, and good luck with this, and stay in touch too. We want
we will be back, I hope, to talk about Native Love Jams and all things NACDI. Thanks, you guys.
Right on. Hey, Native Roots Radio will be right back after this short break.
Attention transit customers. On Saturday, March 16th, Metro Transit will make changes to transit service within your community. As we do each quarter, we review our resources and ridership trends. These service changes continue our ongoing work to best serve customers throughout our system with our given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org.
As nature awakens this spring, let's awaken to the call of protection. Native brothers and sisters, Let's bloom together by getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Let's nurture our heritage and safeguard our futures, one vaccination at a time. So be a vaccinative this spring by protecting yourself and others in our Native community. Whether you're due for an updated vaccine or just getting started, all COVID vaccines offer vital protection against severe illness. For our elders over 65, the latest vaccine is recommended by the CDC to maintain protection. So spring forward with strength, Native communities. Embrace the renewal of the season and safeguard our traditions by getting vaccinated against COVID-19. For more information, including details about clinics offering free vaccines, visit vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1, U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
How? Well, I just want to mention too, Haley, that it's Jim Thorpe Day today, and you know we talk about Jim Thorpe a lot here as one of the greatest athletes of all time, and it's proven. It was voted on. He was the greatest athlete of the 20th century. Really excited to amplify that in 1973. On this date, President Tricky Dick Nixon made it his day. So, hey.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Awesome. Hey, you know, we have our special guest as always, and we want to talk about some fun things here and what's going on tomorrow. Dr. Maureen Hackett, welcome to Native Roots Radio.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. And I'm following on some pretty tough guests. I mean, you had Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. That's pretty amazing. And I know I've heard her many times. And so I would say she's probably the special guest. But anyway, we do have Wolf Day at the Capitol tomorrow. And we plan on adjusting slightly what we're going to be saying to some of the legislators, because we actually had a vote in the Senate last week. They tend to take votes with little notice. So we only had about 2 days notice, or maybe a little more, that they might have a vote on the floor of the Senate. And they did. And the vote was basically to prohibit wolf hunting. And we did not pass by a little bit, is 30 to 35. And so tomorrow, we will be thanking those that voted to prohibit wolf hunting. And we will be asking the people whose senators or representatives that didn't vote, because the House voted last spring, and we can talk about that in a minute. But the senators that didn't vote with us, it's an opportunity for their constituents to talk to them about it and find out, what are they thinking? What are their concerns? Things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's part of tomorrow. There's also the potential for a bill to pass, but we have to work on on the bill language, and that is to require permission to trap on private lands, either written or verbal. Right now, 23 other states require permission if you want to put traps on someone's land. And the state of Wisconsin has had written permission required on all private lands for hunting and trapping since 1995. So what we're getting in Minnesota is we're kind of getting the people that don't want to have to ask anybody for permission to put traps on private lands from Wisconsin coming over to Minnesota. And so we hope that this gets passed. We know it's in the House Environment Committee, but there is some language we're objecting to. Some exceptions are in there, and one of them we're objecting to it, and it involves exempting Highway 2. If you could hang on 1 second, I've got some feedback going on.
Well, we're here with Dr. Maureen Hackett, and she's the founder of Howling Wolves. And she's back.
I'm back. Sorry, I just had to close the door. I left the radio on in the other room, and I didn't want you guys to hear it. But so basically, tomorrow's Wolf Day. We plan on gathering with other wolf advocates. We have these great new T-shirts. I mean, I really like them. They're a hemp viscose material that's actually heavier than the kind we've had in the past. We have a vegan lunch by Root to Rise, and we really want people to register so we could plan. And it's kind of late to register now, but we're expecting probably a little over 100 people have RSVP'd. You know, we do get no shows, so walk-ins are welcome because I'm sure we'll have plenty to give out, and it's a nice time. We get a chance. I give a little talk. I explain a bunch of things that I've been explaining on the radio. And there's a Dr. Michael Fox, who's a veterinarian. He's in his early 80s, maybe mid 80s now. And he's been working animal issues for a very long time, especially with elephants in India. And he's so he's going to say about 5 minutes too. I haven't quite figured out where in the program, but he'll be in the beginning of the day. And then everybody will go off to their meetings and report back to us on our little form we put together to tell us what they learn.
So are we going to talk to senators or the representatives too?
It's whoever we can get meetings with. And to be honest with you, right now, they're really busy with their sessions. And so sometimes the best we can do is call them out of the session, and have them come talk to you in the hallway. Otherwise, we do try to get meetings set up, and we have a bunch set up, and it matters in terms of when you registered, if we had enough time to get those meetings set up. And they're quick meetings. But usually they'll meet with constituents for sure on that day. I think it's going to be a big show tomorrow, or a big day tomorrow, because not just for us, but there are going to be a lot of people at the Capitol. I know the veterans are doing a walk. Disabled American veterans are going to be in the rotunda at noon. As a veteran, I plan on sneaking up and joining them for a little bit, and showing them my support. So there'll be lots of activity at the Capitol, and we hope you'll get a meeting. And if you don't get a meeting, a lot of times we can get a meeting another day.
All right. Or you can go in with somebody else. I know I'm always pleased to go in with Wendy, my wife, because she's an old hat at this and has it down. But she's also over the years helped people and gone in with people like Haley who would be the first time. And also where Haley lives, there's a Republican representative and a Democrat senator, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Who's the senator? Do you remember? Haley, what city?
That's a great question. I'm in Lake Elmo, so East Metro.
Oh, so you're probably Representative Housley, and I'm almost sure of it if you're not, if you're a Senator's Housley or Seeberger, who's a Democrat. It depends.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I think Seeberger, and then I've got Mark Wines too.
Okay, Seeberger voted with us. Basically, every Democrat voted to prohibit wolf hunting except 5, and I can name them off the top of my head. Actually, maybe 6. And one Republican voted to prohibit wolf hunting, and that was Senator Jim Abler. The Democrats that did not vote with us were Senator Hoffman, Senator Latz, which surprised us, out of St. Louis Park, Senator Housechild, Senator Kupek, and who could I possibly be forgetting? I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. That's the best I can come up with right now. But yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to mention this because you just mentioned this, that thank you for serving. I did not know you were a veteran.
Yes, occasionally I mention it. It's in my bio on the Howling for Wolves website, but you got to go to the first line of like below even the general description. Yes, I was in for 7 years in the Air Force. And I was in the medical corps. I was a psychiatrist in the Air Force. I left as a major, finished my commission off. Yeah, I had an 8-year commission. Anyways, it was in part how I paid for medical school. But I'm very glad I did it. I got more out of it than I would say I gave, although I gave my heart too. So anyway,
That's awesome. Dr. Hackett, we only have 30 seconds left. Let's give that information about tomorrow again.
Well, it's Wolf Day at the Capitol, and it starts at 10:30. You register around 10, but everybody's registered and walk-ins are welcome. We can't really do much with walk-ins other than welcome you and enjoy your company and throw you into some meetings if you're willing. We'd love that. And just hang out. So it's at the Capitol in the basement, the vault room, which is just down the basement, and we'll start at 10:30. And you can find all of this out under events at howlingforwolves.org. So take an action while you're there, events at howlingforwolves.org, and we'll explain everything that's happening tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being on and supporting Native Roots Radio. Hey, we're still here. We are the 7th generation. This is Native Roots Radio.
And free Leonard Peltier now.
Yeah.